Welcome, heroes. Ever wondered what would happen if DEKU became Ghost Rider? Dive into the thrilling what if scenario with us. Don't forget to subscribe to my second channel, Snuggy Dude, link in the description below, for more awesome content. On a gloomy evening, the clouds seemed ready to release the rains of calamity. People strolled carelessly through the streets of Japan, but that's not important. What no one notices is a green-haired boy on the rooftop of a building, gazing downward with empty, soulless eyes. Recalling every moment of his short life, having fun and playing with his mother was one of his best times. Until the doctor diagnosed him as quirkless. But he didn't give up and decided to strive to be a hero no matter what they said. That was being perseverant. But then, at 11 years old, another doctor diagnosed his mother with advanced lung cancer and she had to be hospitalized. And as if that wasn't enough, years later his greatest idol and admiration, All Might, crushed his dreams in the worst possible way for a child. Midoriya, can I still be a hero without a quirk? Could my mother heal from her cancer? Hopeful, the green-haired freckled young man asked his idol All Might on the rooftop of a building. Regarding your first question, you can't be a hero without a quirk, causing sadness in the freckled boy. It's not bad to have dreams, young man, but you must be realistic, further saddening Midoriya. And regarding the other, I know cancer has no cure, not even with a healing quirk. I'm sorry to tell you this, but it's the truth. Maybe you could be a doctor or a police officer, they may face ridicule but also save lives, he said before leaving the young man kneeling on the ground, sad and devastated. Even with those words, he saved his best friend from the mud villain, but how do they thank him? With a scolding from the professional heroes, telling him how reckless he had been. Now he's just there, in the same building where All Might told him the harsh truth. Midoriya, hey, I guess All Might is right, the other heroes are right, Kachan was right, said the freckled boy with a slight sad smile as a tear ran down his cheek and he walked to the center of the rooftop. It starts raining quickly, I'm just a foolish quirkless who can't be a hero. I can't save anyone without a quirk, I can't show my mother that I can be a hero, he lamented as he began to run towards the edge of the building. If only I could save my mom, I would do anything if I could, anything. Goodbye, Mom, he said before jumping into the void. At the moment of impact, everything turned black, he didn't feel pain from the fall. It was total darkness surrounding him. Midoriya, so, am I dead? He wondered, looking around, the only thing I regret is leaving my mom alone. Yes, you're dead, but I can bring you back to life, dear Midoriya, said a spooky voice in the darkness, frightening the freckled boy. Midoriya, who's there? How do you know my name? He asked, scared, looking around trying to see. Tell me, little one, do you want to save your mother? Asked, ignoring the boy's questions. Midoriya, yes, I do, but cancer is incurable, he said sadly. For me, nothing is impossible, I will save your mother. But in exchange, you must give me your soul, said, scaring him. Midoriya, and my soul? He asked, scared, still not believing what this person is telling him, but if it were true, it's very bad. That's right, and I'll also bring you back to the human world to be with her, you'll be with her, and I'll only claim your soul when necessary. So, what do you say? Said the voice, making the green-haired boy think until he made a decision. Midoriya, I accept the deal, he said firmly, anything for my mom. Good, said, making a contract appear out of nowhere, sign this contract, and your mother will be saved in exchange for your soul. Midoriya, but I don't have a pen, he said. Oh, yes you do, replied. Suddenly, Izuku felt pain in his index finger and saw it began to bleed from a cut that appeared out of nowhere. There's your pen and ink, said mockingly. He starts signing the contract with his blood, hoping his mother can be cured. It's madness but it's for a greater good. It is done, said the voice as the contract disappeared, now you will return to life, and your mother will be safe, remember the deal. Midoriya, wait, I'd like to know who you are and where we are, he requested. Do you want to know who I am? Very well, I'll tell you, I'm Mephisto, said, revealing a red demon with a sadistic look and a black suit, tuxedo style, and this place is your mind, said before images of his memories appeared everywhere. I've seen you for a long time, a very, very long time. We'll meet again soon, Izuku Midoriya, and I'll claim your soul. For now, enjoy your time with your mother, said before snapping his fingers and everything turned white. Suddenly, he woke up, gasping, and realized he was on the rooftop where he had jumped from. He saw that his body was unharmed. Midoriya, was it a dream? He wondered until he saw the wound on his index finger. It wasn't a dream, that means. He quickly got up and ran to the hospital as rain drenched his body. When he arrived at the hospital, he hurried to the room where his mother was admitted, and to his surprise, several doctors were there, with astonished looks on their faces. "Doctor, I can't believe it. Her cancer has been completely cured," said a surprised doctor. Another doctor, "It's as if she never had it," said a doctor until she noticed Midoriya's presence. "Are you a family member of the patient?" "Izuku, she's my mom," he replied exhausted. "Is she okay?" "Doctor, don't worry about her, young man, although she may or may not believe it, your mother is cancer-free," said, surprising the freckled boy. Midoriya, "So, he did manage to cure her," he thought surprised. "Can I see her, please?" he asked. "Doctor, of course," the doctor replied. Upon entering, he saw his mother sitting on the bed, with a happy smile on her face when she saw her son enter the door, so the green-haired boy ran towards her with tears of happiness to hug her despite being all soaked, but neither of them cared, they only cared about spending the moment together. 1 month later. During that time, Midoriya spent a happy life with his mother. He didn't care that he didn't have a quirk and that Bakugo continued to bully and beat him every day, he even forgot about the deal he made. But one day, our character walked peacefully on a peaceful night after going to a hero store to sell all his All Might figures since he stopped being his greatest admirer. He doesn't blame him for the cruel words he said, but it was better to let go of that dream for him, although he had to admit that he has many figures at home. It was already the 4th time he went to sell his figures. Suddenly, he felt a familiar voice that made his whole body tremble. "It's time to fulfill the contract, Izuku Midoriya," said the voice. Instantly, he recognized it as Mephisto. "Midoriya, I thought it would be when I die," he said very scared. "Mephisto, it's not like that, I need you to be alive for the deal," he said, leading him into an alley while controlling his body against his will. "Midoriya, what are you going to do to me?" he asked scared. Mephisto, "Oh, nothing special, just fulfilling my purposes, but don't worry, it'll only hurt for a moment." Suddenly, he felt his body burning, and his face was engulfed in flames, causing a great scream of pain. "Midoriya, he screamed in pain as he grabbed his face, but it was in vain, as the pain still continued. "Mephisto, perhaps not," he said indifferently. He began to laugh like a psychopath and began to hear voices within him. Voices from the other world, agonies of innocent souls seeking revenge on the beings who did evil deeds. Smoke began to emerge from his eyes and ears, and his skin began to burn to such a degree that it began to disappear, leaving behind bones. He began to take slow steps, leaving flaming footprints. He stopped laughing, and now his whole body was engulfed in flames without burning his clothes, and a skull protruded from his head, his eyes disappeared, and he was just a skeleton covered in infernal flames. "Mephisto, well, boy, you did it. Now learn to use that power and find my son in 3 years, by that time, you'll notice his demonic presence. Find him and bring him to me. If you do a good job, I'll return your soul," he said calmly as Midoriya remained motionless. Then the sound of a motorcycle approaching at full speed is heard. Upon arrival, a black motorcycle is seen emitting flames and leaving a trail of fire. Its driver, wearing a black leather suit with chains wrapped around his torso, got off the vehicle and pointed at the boy. "Mephisto," he exclaimed, he knows that Mephisto is present there even though he can't be seen. "It's time to break a contract," he shouted. There, it can be seen that his head was just a flaming skull like Midoriya's, only he has control of his body. The Ghost Rider has arrived in Japan, and that was Ghost Rider. "Mephisto, Johnny. Blaze," he replied annoyed, "I was hoping you'd arrive later. I can't believe you crossed the whole damn Pacific Ocean in your vehicle just to find me." "Ghost Rider, if I need to go around the planet to stop you from controlling innocent people, I'll do it," he said determinedly as he grabbed his chains. "Leave that kid alone or face the vengeance of 1,000 innocent souls." "Mephisto, I'm sorry, but the kid already signed a contract," he said indifferently. "Ghost Rider, well, you'll break it," he said defiantly. "Mephisto, you know you can't catch me without being in a host body, Johnny. Now the kid is doomed," he decreed while laughing. "I'll leave the brat be, but remember, an evil is coming soon. Neither you nor the kid can stop it or stop me," he said before disappearing, leaving the boy who returned to normal within a few seconds but unconscious on the ground. "Ghost Rider, we'll see about that," he said as he returned to normal and carried the freckled boy to his motorcycle. He put the helmet on him and took him far away from the place. 1 hour later. Izuku woke up quickly without knowing where he was, he only knew he was in a bed. He was very thirsty, and all he did was grab each cup of water on a nightstand by coincidence. You finally woke up, said a voice that seemed to be of a man, from the other side of the room behind him. When he turned around to see him, he saw that it was indeed a man, only he seemed to be between 30 and 35 years old, wearing a black leather suit and black shoes, including gloves of the same color, and he was leaning against the wall. I figured you'd be very thirsty after that transformation. The same happened to me, he said while looking at him seriously. At that moment, he remembered what happened in the alley, somewhat blurry memories, but he does remember when he transformed into a hellish skeleton. But now he wants to know who he is. Midoriya, who are you? He asked scared while still holding his fifth cup of water. I'm Johnny Blaze, and you? He asked seriously. Midoriya, Izuku Midoriya. Blaze, alright, Izuku, tell me. Why did you sign a contract with Mephisto? He asked, surprising the freckled boy. Midoriya, how do you know about? Blaze, tell me, was it for money? Power? Eternal life? He asked as he approached and grabbed him by the shoulders. Midoriya, it was for my mom, he said, surprising him. She had lung cancer, he said sadly. Blaze, he let go and sat on the bed. Then you're just like me, he commented as he looked at the floor. Midoriya, like you? He asked confused. Blaze, my father had cancer, and I did something crazy, he confessed, clenching his fist. Midoriya, made a deal with Mephisto. Blaze, that's right, he replied, like you, our souls are at his mercy. Midoriya, and what do we do? He asked worriedly. Blaze, I've been trying to break the contract for a long time without any success, he confessed, and now that damned one said that an even greater evil is approaching. Do you remember the request he made to you? Midoriya, yes. He said. To find his son in 3 years, he replied. Blaze, then his son reincarnated into the human world, he said thoughtfully, this is bad. That guy is stronger than his father, he said, surprising him. Midoriya, how do you know that? He asked. Blaze, internet, he replied seriously, Mephisto is a demon who makes deals with desperate people to fulfill his purposes. His son is more powerful than him since he can manipulate people without needing a contract. Midoriya, so what do we do? He asked. Blaze, one Avenger may not be able to stop him. But maybe two can, he said with an idea in mind. Midoriya, he said confused. Blaze, I'm going to train you, he said, surprising him, I'll teach you to control the power of the Ghost Rider, and together we can save the world from that demon. Midoriya, Ghost Rider, he thought, but I don't know if I can do it, Mr. Blaze, he said unsurely. Blaze, Izuku, he said seriously, I don't know if I can do it either, he confessed, there are times when we must be heroes even if we're afraid. I know you didn't choose to have this curse just like me, but being us, we can use it as a gift to protect the innocent. It's up to you, use this power to help or let the world condemn itself. What do you say? He said as he extended his hand. Now Izuku is thinking, he knows he doesn't have a quirk, but now with his power, he can help people who need it. It's a second chance to be a hero. Midoriya, I accept to help you, I want to be a hero, he said with a determined smile as he shook his hand. Blaze, I'm glad you decided, meet me tomorrow at the beach at 6 a.m. to start training. For now, it's better if you go home. At that moment, Izuku remembered he had to be home before his mom punished him, causing him to panic. Midoriya, it's true. I had to get back as soon as possible, he remembered, scared, what time is it? Blaze, it's 10:23, he responded. Midoriya, it can't be, now my mom will kill me, he said, frightened. Blaze, I'll take you on my bike so you won't be late anymore, he said as he headed to the door. Midoriya, thank you. Upon leaving, he saw they were in a motel on the outskirts of the city. They went to the parking lot and got on the bike, heading towards Midoriya's house as indicated earlier. Midoriya, excuse me, Mr. Blaze, he said as he held on to Johnny to not fall off the speeding bike. Blaze, yes? Midoriya, from your name and surname, you're not Japanese, right? He asked. Blaze, that's right, I'm American, he replied, looking at the road. Midoriya, how did you get here and how do you speak Japanese? He asked. Blaze, I arrived on my motorcycle across the Pacific Ocean, he replied uninterested, surprising him, and I know Japanese from my former job as a stunt motorcyclist. Midoriya, amazing, he said, surprised. After 15 minutes of travel and conversation, they arrived in front of Midoriya's apartment. Blaze, alright, Izuku, don't forget, tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. at the beach 15 minutes from here, he said as he rode away on his motorcycle. Midoriya, thank you for bringing me, Mr. Blaze, he thanked as he watched him leave. Now he faces a challenge, the wrath of his mother. Carefully, he opened the door slowly, and as he peeked inside, he saw his mother standing in front of him with her arms crossed and "I'll kill you for being late" look in her eyes. Inko, Izuku Midoriya, she said, serious as if it were a sentence. Midoriya, why yes? He said, scared, trembling in the doorway. Inko, why are you late, may I ask? She asked. Midoriya, it's just that, at that moment, he remembered what Johnny told him on the way home. Blaze, in case someone asks where you got that power from, say it's your quirk, he responded, from what you've told me recently, you don't have one, right? Midoriya, that's right, he responded. Blaze, then tell them your quirk developed late, he suggested. Midoriya, it's because my quirk developed, he said, surprising her, she won't believe it, he thought. Inko, wait a moment, do you have a quirk? She asked, surprised. Midoriya, it seems it developed a bit late, and I still can't control it, he nervously laughed. Then his mom started to cry, alarming the green-haired boy. Inko, my son has a quirk. I feel so proud of you, Izuku, she said, crying tears of joy as she hugged him. Since she raised him, she knew he wasn't lying. So it filled her with happiness to know that her son has a gift. Inko, thank you, Mom, he said, returning the hug. Inko, but that's no excuse for being late, young man, she said, changing her attitude to serious. I won't punish you this time, but let it be the last time you come home late, understood? Midoriya, why yes, Mom, he responded, scared. Inko, now go to the table, I'll serve your dinner right away, she said affectionately. Often mothers scare us worse than demons, but we still love them. After dinner, he went to bed in his room. Now he knows he has a power beyond what he thought, but he will make good use of it and will avoid the approaching evil at all costs. Soon, the first day to be a hero, an Avenger, will begin. It was 6 in the morning, the sun was starting to come out, and a green-haired boy began jogging towards the beach with some haste, as today would be his training to control his new power. Or rather, his curse. But that doesn't mean he can't change his fate from being Mephisto's servant to being a hero. With these thoughts in mind, he reached the beach, where Johnny Blaze, better known as the Ghost Rider, awaited him leaning on his motorcycle. Blaze, Izuku, I see you made it on time, he said as he shook his hand. Midoriya, why yes, I was eager to start controlling this power, he said excitedly. Blaze, you have positivity, I like that. Very well, I will teach you to control this power within you, he commented. Midoriya, I'm ready, Mr. Blaze, he said excitedly. Blaze, then let's start warming up, he said as he got on his motorcycle. Try to catch up with me as I ride my motorcycle across the beach, he explained, surprising the freckled boy. Midoriya, see catch up? Oh, on foot? He asked, surprised. Blaze, that's right, you need to improve your physical condition to keep your power under control, he explained seriously as he started his vehicle. Now, catch me, he shouted, already some distance away. By the way, catch me without using your power, he warned. Midoriya, I don't even know how to activate it, he shouted, receiving no response. Seeing that Johnny was far away, Izuku began to run with all his might trying to catch up. An hour passed, and the distance was absurd. There was no way to catch him on foot while he rode a motorcycle through the sand, so he collapsed exhausted on the ground. Midoriya, I can't anymore, he said, breathing heavily. In 5 minutes, Blaze arrived, parking his vehicle. Blaze, you didn't manage to catch up, but you held up well, he praised him. Now the next part is for you to use your power, he commented. Let's start with a small part. Try to summon the Avenger's power in the palm of your hand. Concentrate and prevent it from getting out of control, like this, he explained as he closed his eyes and instantly transformed his hand, surprising him. Now it's your turn. Midoriya, I'll try, he said as he did the same but with no result. It's not working, Mr. Blaze. Blaze, maybe you're not very connected to Zarathos, he said thoughtfully. Midoriya, Zarathos? He asked, confused. Blaze, it seems you don't know who he is. You see, as you know, Mephisto gave us this power, but this power isn't his, he said, surprising him. It belongs to a demon named Zarathos, who now possesses our souls. His mission was to punish guilty souls and even devour them. Midoriya, devour them? He exclaimed, surprised and scared. Blaze, that's right, when you transformed for the first time, didn't you feel Mephisto's evil presence? He asked. At that moment, he remembered feeling a kind of dark and evil aura around Mephisto, something that made him want revenge against him. Midoriya, I felt the evil and the horrible things he did, he commented. Blaze, that's the presence of souls, we can see whether a person is guilty or innocent depending on what they've done, he explained, Zarathos' spirit can sense it. Midoriya, that's incredible, Mr. Blaze. Blaze, not so much, when I'm surrounded by so many bad individuals, Zarathos' spirit possesses my body and punishes them in the worst possible ways, even burning their souls, he said very seriously. Midoriya, burn their souls? He exclaimed, scared. Blaze, but don't worry, I know you can keep it under control, just try to stay focused and avoid seeking revenge, he advised as he sat on the sand. Now sit down and try again, try to get Zarathos to allow you his power, summon the hellfire. Midoriya, all right, he said, sitting down and closing his eyes. Zarathos, grant me permission to use your power, he thought as he extended his hand. Suddenly, smoke started coming out of his hand until it burst into flames, revealing a skeletal hand covered in flames. Infernal flames, also known as hellfire. Blaze, congratulations, Izuku, you did it, he praised as he stood up, having extinguished his flames. Now let's continue with the rest of the training. Midoriya, yes, Mr. Blaze, he exclaimed, motivated. Throughout the rest of the day, Johnny taught him various exercises, tricks, and skills that he learned in a short time. Like connecting his power to objects to use them as weapons, very essential for a Ghost Rider. His master instructed him to choose any weapon that could be useful to him, so he quickly chose the chains. He wanted to be like his master and new idol. Johnny was moved, although he didn't show it. It's been almost a month of training, which for Izuku was considered a complete hell day after day, running all the time, learning to use the chains, controlling the hellfire although not completely to avoid losing control, and even linking his power to an abandoned car that had his driver's license, despite being underage, and now his physical condition had improved. Blaze, well, Izuku, you've managed to handle my training, unfortunately, I can't continue training you, he announced. Midoriya, what do you mean? He asked, confused. Blaze, I have to go back to the United States, he said with a serious face, I have to find clues about Mephisto and his son. Midoriya, I understand, but who will train me now? He asked. Blaze, I hadn't thought about that, he confessed, causing his pupil to fall to the ground. Don't you know of an academy or something where you can continue your training? He asked, making the green-haired boy thoughtful. An academy? First of all, it would be a good idea for him to learn to be a hero, and also, if he graduates, he can get a license and won't have to be an illegal hero. But his question was, which academy would be the right one? There are practically many, but he already had an academy in mind. Since he was a child, he always wanted to enter there. Midoriya, UA would be an option, he replied decisively. Blaze, UA, he said very confused. Midoriya, it's one of the best academies in the country, I'm sure they can teach me to be a hero, he said happily. Blaze, I see, then go to UA, pass their entrance exam, learn everything you can, and above all, avoid using all of Zarathos' power, he advised seriously. Midoriya, to not scare everyone with this intimidating power, he said thoughtfully. Blaze, well yes, but also to avoid Zarathos from controlling your body, he warned as he headed to his bike followed by the freckled boy, you still don't have complete control over him, control your fear. If he controls you, it's likely you'll be expelled for any action he takes, he warned, scaring the freckled boy. Midoriya, don't worry, Mr. Blaze, I won't fully use this power, he said, reassuring his master. Blaze, I trust you, don't disappoint me, he said with a slight smile. Well, I have to go, he said as he got on his motorcycle, don't forget to keep training and strive to pass. If you do, you'll have a reward, he commented. Midoriya, I'll make it. I promise, he exclaimed, determined. Blaze, good. Oh, and one more thing, he said before transforming, our souls were taken, but not our spirits, he said before heading towards the ocean, leaving Izuku pensive. Midoriya, don't worry, Mr. Blaze, I'll be the #1 hero and future symbol of peace, he said eagerly. Months passed after Johnny Blaze left for the United States. and it was time for the UA entrance exam. And there we see him in front of UA with a large backpack on his back and his uniform ready to go in. Midoriya sighs, well, here I am, UA. You can do it, Izuku, Mr. Blaze believes in you, you can do it. He gave himself words of inspiration until he heard a very familiar voice behind him. Deku. What the hell are you doing here? You're just going to get in my damn way, shouted a blonde boy as he approached threateningly. It was Katsuki Bakugo, or as he calls him, Kachan. Midoriya, hi Kachan, let's do our best to pass, he said, very afraid of his friend, so to speak. Despite having an intimidating power, he still fears the years of suffering that he endured. Bakugo, TSK, you'd better not get in my way or I'll kill you, damn nerd, he exclaimed angrily, leaving Izuku behind. Midoriya, maybe I'm afraid of Kachan, but I'll definitely be the #1 hero and symbol of peace, he thought to himself, motivating himself. I'll take my first step to becoming a hero, he said, literally taking a step, but accidentally tripped over a stone that happened to be there. Or my first step to disaster, he thought with his eyes closed, bracing for impact. But there was no impact, instead, he felt like he was floating. When he opened his eyes, it turned out to be true. Are you okay? Asked a sweet voice that sounded somewhat concerned. Izuku turned to see her and saw a pretty girl with not so short brown hair wearing a sweater and a scarf. His heart skipped a beat as he looked at her. Liberar, she exclaimed, joining her fingers and causing Izuku to descend. Sorry for using my quirk on you, but it would be bad luck if you fell, right? She asked cheerfully with a smile and closed eyes. Midoriya, he stammered, trying to speak. Starting to walk, well, good luck to both of us. See you, she bid farewell, leaving the green-haired boy behind with a nervous and flushed look. Midoriya, I've talked to a girl, he thought to himself as if what he had just done was something impossible to do. Feeling fearless now, he entered UA with a bit more confidence. Once inside, he found himself in a gigantic room with several applicants. It seemed like they were all strong. So, he found a seat and sat right next to Bakugo. Suddenly, the entire place went dark, and a spotlight illuminated one side of the room, showing a blond man with a unique hairstyle and what appeared to be a kind of speaker around his neck. It was the sound hero Present Mike. Present Mike, welcome everyone to my show. Everyone say yeah, he shouted enthusiastically at the top of his lungs. Thinking everyone would do the same, Midoriya did what the professional hero asked. Midoriya, yeah, he shouted, but realizing no one else did, he covered his face in embarrassment as everyone looked at him like he was some kind of weirdo. Present Mike, oh. I like that green-haired kid. +5 extra points for you, he exclaimed, causing everyone to be surprised and look at him with disdain. Suddenly, a few yeahs could be heard from the participants. Too late. You missed your chance. Bakugo, damn it, he shouted angrily. Present Mike, alright. Let me tell you what this is about. First, you will take a written exam, use your whole brain to get a good score. Then, you will go to the training area assigned by area for the practical exam, where there will be 3 different robots with different scores. Use all your skills to destroy them. Attacking other competitors inside and outside the venue is prohibited. Get the highest scores to pass. Simple, he explained excitedly until a competitor with blue hair and glasses raised his hand. Excuse me. Can I ask a question? He raised his hand very high as he stood up from his seat. Present Mike, yes, of course, competitor, you can ask. You said there are 3 robots, but the brochure says 4. How can the best academy make such a big mistake like that? And you, he exclaimed, pointing at Midoriya. Midoriya, eh? I've heard you muttering since the professional hero started explaining. If you're not interested in this, you can leave. Thanks, he exclaimed, embarrassing the freckled boy. Present Mike, that's it. The 4th robot is worth 0 points and you don't need to face it. Thank you very much for clarifying my doubts. You may continue, he exclaimed, sitting back down. Present Mike, well, that's it. So give it your all. Plus ultra, he shouted excitedly. Each of them was given a sheet for the written exam. Some time passed, and it was time for the practical exam. Each group was divided by area for all applicants. There he was, concentrating before starting, and by chance, he saw the brown-haired girl who saved him at the entrance. Midoriya, there's the girl who helped me, I should go thank her, he thought, then approached her but was interrupted by the same boy with glasses. Question mark. Hey, can't you see that girl is concentrating? Do you want to interrupt her? He asked very seriously. Midoriya, and no, I wanted to thank her for, he stammered nervously but was interrupted by the sound of an alarm. The large doors opened, revealing a replica of a city where the practical exam would take place, so on impulse, Izuku began to run into the area, leaving the glasses-wearing boy confused. Many applicants looked confused at Present Mike until he said, "Present Mike, that kid is growing on me more." Then he looked at the others, "And what are you waiting for? Your mom's permission? Run before the green kid steals points from you," he exclaimed, causing everyone to run towards the city. Immediately, Izuku found a 2-point robot. He tried to activate his power in one hand, but the robot was destroyed by a laser fired by a blonde and shiny-looking boy. Question mark. Merci, he apologized with his French accent, but as they say in France, finders keepers, he said, posing before running off. Midoriya, excuse me, but that was mine. Oh, he's already gone, he said before looking for another robot. 6 minutes remaining. Izuku set out to find other robots, but whenever he found one, other applicants would destroy it without giving him a chance to activate his power. Meanwhile, in the surveillance room, several hero teachers watched the candidates' progress through cameras. Question mark. It seems we have a good crop, said a small animal-like figure. Question mark. I like that explosive kid, someone said as they watched Baku go through the cameras. Question mark. I'm fond of that speedy kid, another one remarked. Question mark. Very well, I hope you're ready for the real test, said someone, pressing a large red button. Meanwhile, in the replica city. 1 minute remaining. Izuku tried to destroy a robot but without any success as there were few left. Suddenly, the place started shaking, surprising the freckled boy. Midoriya, what's happening? He asked as some people started running away. Question mark. Run. Question mark. It's the 0 points. And right there, a robot over 20 meters tall appeared, approaching the area and crushing everything in its path. Midoriya, this is insane, he said, scared, ready to leave, but suddenly he heard a familiar voice. Question mark. Ouch. It hurts. Help me, she exclaimed in pain. Seeing her trapped under debris, Izuku knew he had to help her, even though his conscience told him not to, but his body started running towards her. Midoriya, why am I running? I must help her, but my power isn't responding, he thought as he tried to transform but in vain. Suddenly, he heard a sinister voice in his mind. Question mark. Save the innocent, it exclaimed, referring to the girl. Midoriya, what was that? He wondered, confused, as his power activated, finally. But not the whole body, so, he prepared to ignite his hands and feet with infernal fire and then jumped high until he reached the robot's head level. Here I go, he prepared his right fist and, he shouted, delivering a powerful punch to the robot's face, causing it to explode and sending the green-haired boy flying, crashing into a building. All the applicants looked at him surprised, especially the brown-haired girl who managed to get out of the rubble. Teachers, oh my god. We killed a kid, they shouted horrified. Time's up. A sound resonated, indicating that time was up. All the candidates who saw the green-haired boy's act approached the spot where the robot exploded and then directed their gaze to the building where the freckled boy crashed. Question mark. I can't believe that kid risked his life for a robot that had no points, an unknown person spoke. Question mark. And now who will tell his parents what happened to him? Another one asked. Question mark. Don't they understand? That kid risked his life to save the girl, thought the glasses-wearing boy who saw the whole scene. Question mark. He sacrificed his life for me, thought the brown-haired girl. Question mark. Make way, youngsters, I need to find that kid before it's too late, spoke an old woman dressed in nurse attire, carrying a syringe-shaped cane. Question mark. It's Recovery Girl, UA's nurse, said someone who recognized her. Recovery Girl, I need to see how serious it is, she said worriedly as she headed to the scene. At that moment, the doors of the building opened, showing the freckled boy coming out tired, walking as if he were very exhausted, without any injuries, just his shirt slightly burnt. Midoriya, at least. I wish I could have achieved a point, he said tiredly before collapsing to the ground. The others couldn't believe that the boy could have survived that explosion without any injury. The girls blushed as they saw a bit of the boy's muscles. Recovery Girl, I can't believe the boy is only tired and without any injuries, she said amazed as she watched him. By the way, anyone injured, come to me for treatment. The rest of you can go home and wait for the results. Someone help me take him to the infirmary. Meanwhile, in the surveillance room. That boy is very strong, and he survived the explosion as if nothing happened, said a teacher with a space suit-like appearance. Present Mike, Director Nidzu, did you see how strong he is? He asked. Nidzu, certainly, what do you think, All Might? That boy seems to have your strength, he asked the symbol of peace. All Might, that boy, I thought he said he didn't have a quirk, he thought, it seems he was right, Director. 6 days later. There he was, Izuku, dejected, sad, with a lost look in front of his smoked fish. Wondering if he passed the exam or not, and also about the voice he heard. Was it Zarathos who spoke to him? And if it was him, why doesn't he communicate with him anymore? Until he heard his mother's voice entering the room very nervously. Inko, Izuku, it's here, she said, showing the letter with the UA seal. Izuku, seeing it, quickly took the letter, hugged his mom, and went to his room at lightning speed. He sat at his desk and opened the letter, revealing a device. Suddenly, it lit up, showing a hologram. Present Mike, yeah, he shouted, causing the freckled boy to fall off his seat from the sudden appearance. Midoriya, present Mike? He wondered as he sat back down. Present Mike, hello, Midoriya Izuku. It's me, your favorite hero. I'm here to tell you the results of your exams, he said with excitement. In the written exam, you got a good score. Unfortunately, in the practical exam, you didn't score any points, so you know you can't enter UA, he said, causing sadness in Izuku. Midoriya, I knew it, I knew I wouldn't pass, he said, clenching his fists and feeling like crying. Present Mike, but look at this little recording, he pointed, run the video. A recording from a security camera played, showing the brown-haired girl talking to some teachers. Excuse me for interrupting. Midoriya, it's the kind girl, he said amazed. But do you remember that boy with the messy green hair? The one with freckles, you know who I mean. Is it possible to give him half of my points? I heard he didn't get any points, and he risked his life to save me, so please, she pleaded until the recording ended. Present Mike, do you see, buddy? Your actions saved that girl's life. Unfortunately, points cannot be transferred. But what no one knew is that this practical exam is divided into 2 types of points, he said. Midoriya, huh? He said confused. Present Mike, elimination points and rescue points, he said, surprising him. You risked your own life to save her, which is what a hero does. Therefore, the teachers and the principal decided to give you 65 rescue points, plus my 5 extra points, for a total of 70 points. You passed the exam. Welcome to your Hero Academy. Midoriya, did I make it? I made it. Yes. This is my first step. My first step to becoming a hero, he said excitedly, jumping for joy. Now his adventure begins. To become a hero. On the first day of school, Izuku was running through the huge hallways of the building, looking for his assigned area, 1A. Wearing his typical UA uniform, he reached a massive red door. Inside, he hoped not to encounter his childhood friend and the boy with glasses. He took a deep breath and opened the door. Unfortunately, he found the last people he wanted to see arguing loudly. Hey! Get your feet off the table. Don't you have any respect for what this table means and for the teachers? Someone asked, moving their arm like a robot. Eh? Who are you and where did you come from, weirdo? Bakugo arrogantly questioned. I'm Tenya Ida from Somei Junior High, he exclaimed, still moving his arm. From Somei? Are you from the elite? Well, it'll be a pleasure to crush you, Bakugo sneered. Crush me? And you want to be a hero like that? Ida asked, alarmed. Suddenly, both noticed Izuku at the door, observing the scene. Ida approached him. I'm Tenya Ida from Somei High, he introduced himself near the freckled boy. Yeah, I heard everything. I'm Izuku Midoriya, nice to meet you, Ida, he introduced himself, somewhat nervous. Midoriya. I misjudged you. You knew the secret of the practical exam, Ida said dramatically. Eh? Midoriya was confused. I hate to admit it, but you're a better person than me, Ida said, moving his arm. Everyone present watched, especially Bakugo, who looked at Midoriya with anger and disdain. It's you. The green-haired boy, exclaimed a brown-haired girl. Izuku turned towards the voice and saw the same girl from the entrance exam. Oh, it's the kind girl, and she looks even cuter in uniform, Izuku thought, covering his face with his arms to hide his blush. You knew you were going to pass. And how you saved me from that robot. You went ah and the robot went boom. And then you crashed out. It was amazing, she exclaimed, imitating the scene, embarrassing Izuku further. Suddenly, a voice behind them was heard. If you're going to play friends, you should leave. This is the Hero Academy, said a man with a tired look in a sleeping bag, taking a sip of his juice box. The three of them thought, there's something about him. It took you 8 seconds to shut up. We need to work on that, he said, getting up, leaving the sleeping bag, and going behind the desk. I'm Shota Aizawa, and I'll be your homeroom teacher. We don't have much time, so put these on, he said, pulling out some blue tracksuits from his bag. Head to the campus exit, and make it quick. Don't make me lose my patience, he commented, leaving the classroom. Confused by what happened, they decided to obey the teacher's order. Once changed, everyone was already on the huge campus where the teacher was waiting for them. Now that everyone's here, today we'll have a quirk assessment test, he explained, surprising almost everyone. What about the opening ceremony? Asked the confused brown-haired girl. If you want to be heroes, there's no time for that, he explained wearily. Bakugo, you were the top scorer in the practical exam. What's your record for ball throwing? 67 meters, he responded seriously. Now try again using your quirk, he said, throwing a ball at him. You can do whatever you want as long as you stay within the circle. All right, Bakugo said, stepping into the circle and turning his gaze towards a certain person. Watch closely, DEKU, he thought, ready to throw. Explosion, he shouted with all his might, creating a huge explosion that sent the ball flying far away. I feel like he imagined I was the ball, Midoriya thought, a bit scared. Aizawa showed the meter, indicating a result of 705.2 meters. Can we use our quirks however we want? Asked a red-haired boy with pointed teeth. It sounds fun, exclaimed a pink-skinned girl with horns, excited. Aizawa, fun, huh? Let's make it more fun. The person who comes in last place will be expelled from hero class, he said seriously, scaring everyone. Everyone, what? They shouted, surprised. But that's unfair. The brown-haired girl protested. Aizawa, natural disasters, mass accidents, psychotic individuals. The world is unfair, and Japan is no exception. Therefore, professional heroes use all their potential to stop villains. And if you want to be heroes, you must show me your capability over these 3 years, he explained, then showing a sinister smile. Welcome to the hero course, he said, sending shivers down everyone's spine. And without being able to say anything, the evaluation began. Now it's time for the final test, ball throwing. The brown-haired girl, ready, activated her quirk on the ball and threw it very far. Aizawa showed the meter to the whole class. Everyone, infinity? They exclaimed, surprised and speechless. Aizawa, Midoriya, your turn, he indicated. Izuku felt a little scared, as his power didn't activate in the previous tests, though he scored well. But if he fails this one, he'll be expelled. Now in the circle, he took the ball, prepared to throw, took a breath, and launched it. Meter, 51 meters. Midoriya, what? My power still hasn't activated? He thought, horrified, as he looked at his hand. Suddenly, he was wrapped in bands that tied his whole body. He looked at his teacher and saw that he had red eyes, raised hair, and he was the one controlling the bands. He also noticed something on his neck. Midoriya, did he tie me up? He said, surprised, noticing some glasses on his neck. Those glasses. I see, you're the hero eraser head, he said, surprised. Aizawa, what's wrong? It seems you can't activate your quirk, and yet you want to be a hero? I can't believe people like you are entering this class, he said, very angry, without stopping blinking. Midoriya, eraser head, He tried to speak, but the bandages tightened around him. Aizawa, I saw your test in the practical exam. You didn't deserve that score. You're pathetic, he said with a lot of hatred, saddening Midoriya. He released him and handed him the ball. I gave your quirk back. You have one more chance, so don't waste my time, he said, annoyed. Izuku took the ball and positioned himself in the circle. Midoriya, I only have one chance. I must show him that I deserve to be in this academy, he thought, already in position. Zarathos, I beg you, please lend me your power, he thought with his eyes closed. Suddenly, he felt a kind of fire within him. He instantly knew it was Zarathos, hearing his plea and helping him. So he immediately ignited his hand with infernal fire, but without showing any bones, to avoid scaring them. With all his strength, he threw the ball enveloped in inferno, creating a heat wave and dust, dragging some classmates who were watching the scene. Meter, 5,000.32 meters. Everyone, what? They exclaimed, astonished and impressed by the score. Midoriya, sensei. I'll show you I can do it. That I can be a hero, he said with a smile and determined gaze, extinguishing his flames. Aizawa, this kid, he said with a smile. Then, a threatening figure approached Izuku. Bakugo, Deku, fear me. Bastard, how come you have a quirk? He shouted, making small explosions. Are you underestimating me, damn nerd? He exclaimed, trying to attack him but was restrained by Aizawa's bands. Aizawa, you kids make me use my quirk at this time of day. My eyes dry out, he said threateningly, using his quirk. If you commit any violent act, you'll be expelled from UA without protest, understood, Bakugo? Bakugo, TKS, fine, he said, giving in and stopping struggling. Aizawa released him, and after several minutes, everyone was ready to see the results. Aizawa, alright, it's time to see your results. Read your names carefully, and whoever has the lowest score will be expelled from UA, he said, then pressed a button and displayed a hologram with all the students' positions. Izuku saw his name at the bottom of the list, feeling like his whole life had fallen apart. Ida and the brown-haired girl felt some pity for him. Aizawa, oh, and about the expulsion, he said, getting everyone's attention. It was a lie, he said with a smile. Everyone, what? They exclaimed. Aizawa, it was an April Fool's joke, he began to walk. To push you to show your utmost capability. You'll find study pamphlets on your desks, go get changed, he left everyone speechless. Everyone, what? They shouted again. Well, of course, it was a joke, said a girl with a ponytail hairstyle. We didn't know, they thought. Midoriya, he wasn't lying, he said quietly as he looked where his teacher went. Ida, why do you say that, Midoriya? He asked, as he heard him, catching the attention of the others. Midoriya, his look. It seemed like he was serious about the expulsion. Also, I heard he expelled entire classes before, he lied, as he saw his soul and knew he was lying. The others were surprised by this information. Ida, it can't be. I didn't know Aizawa-sensei had so much power to expel an entire class, he said surprised. After class, Midoriya was heading home, lost in thought. Midoriya, it seems I can't use this power very well. I must find a way to use it fully. I must stay controlled and calm when it really matters, he thought, until he felt a hand on his shoulder, causing him to startle. Ida, hey, Midoriya, are you okay? He asked, a little worried. Midoriya, eh? Why yeah, Ida, why do you ask? He responded. Ida, because I saw you deep in thought, he replied. Midoriya, oh, it's about the expulsion by Aizawa-sensei, he said nervously as he scratched the back of his head. Ida, yes, I still can't believe the teacher can expel us. That means giving our best every day, he said, moving his arm. Midoriya, I thought Ida was scary, but he's just serious, he thought, until they both heard a voice of a very familiar girl. Hey. Are you guys going to the station? Wait for me. She shouted as she approached them. Midoriya, oh, it's her, he thought, blushing slightly. Ida, the girl from Infinity, he said as they stopped until she caught up to them. I'm Uraka Ochako, she introduced herself with a smile, and you are, Ida Tenya and your Midoriya Deku, she said cheerfully. Midoriya, Deku? He exclaimed surprised. Uraka, eh? Well, when that guy Bakugo yelled at you, he said. Bakugo, Deku, fear me. Uraka, something like that, she pointed out. Midoriya, that's not my name. Kachan calls me that to insult me, he commented nervously as he moved his arms nervously. Ida, so it's an insult, he said thoughtfully. Uraka, oh, sorry. But you know? Deku sounds like Dekiru, which means you can do it, that's why I like it a lot, she said happily. Midoriya, I'm Deku. He exclaimed, blushing. Ida, Midoriya? Wasn't that an insult? He asked confused. Midoriya, it's like a Copernican revolution, he said embarrassed, covering his face. Uraka, Cope? She said confused. So the three of them went to the station, chatting, talking, And for the first time for Izuku, he made good friends. The magnificent sunrise, seeing the sun rising and brightening your day makes it perfect. Though sometimes it steals the good sleep a person gets while sleeping. But we're getting off track. Now we see the green-haired guy saying goodbye to his mom before going to the academy. Midoriya, see you, mom. I'll be home soon, he said while putting on his shoes. Inko, take care, Izuku, and have a good day. I love you, she said affectionately as she said goodbye at the entrance of their house. Midoriya, I love you too, mom, he said, giving her a hug for a few seconds. See you, he said goodbye already outside his house. Both lived in a small apartment. They didn't need to live in their own house, as long as they had each other, it was enough. Downstairs on the stairs, he sees a vehicle, but not just any vehicle. It was Johnny Blaze's motorcycle. Immediately he ran with excitement towards the vehicle hoping to see him, but he didn't find anyone. There was just a note on the motorcycle. Midoriya, Mr. Blaze? He said as he took the note to start reading. For Izuku. I heard you just entered UA. Midoriya, but that was 2 days ago, he commented before continuing to read. Anyway, as I promised you a gift, there it is. Midoriya, wait, does he mean? That's right, I'm giving you a motorcycle just like mine. Midoriya, huh? He exclaimed surprised. That's why I asked you to take some driving lessons. As Ghost Rider, you need a means of transportation that allows you to move everywhere. I hope it helps you get to your classes too. Johnny Blaze. P.S. I found clues about Mephisto's son. He's not alone, he came with more demons. And by the way, I forgot to mention that your power will activate towards the person or people you want to protect. Midoriya, and now you tell me? Wait, does it say his son isn't alone? He wondered surprised. We'll have to keep training. Wait a moment. It's late for school, he exclaimed as he went back home for his license. Inko, Izuku? She exclaimed surprised, shouldn't you be at school? She asked. Midoriya, I forgot my driver's license, he exclaimed, heading to his room. Inko, but you don't have a vehicle, she said confused as she saw him returning. Midoriya, remember I mentioned someone helped me control my gift? He asked as she nodded. Well, for managing to enter UA, they gifted me a motorcycle. Inko, I'd ask more, but it's late for school. So go quickly, she urged. Midoriya, oh right, I'm going, mom, he said as he hugged her. He went down the stairs, got on the vehicle, and quickly went to the academy. He barely arrived on time, and then the classes continued as usual until lunchtime. Everyone eagerly awaited who the next teacher would be until they heard a familiar voice. I'm entering through the door like a regular person, he exclaimed as he entered the classroom. Everyone, All Might, they shouted surprised except Bakugo, Midoriya, and a young man with half red and half white hair. Midoriya, so it was true he'd teach at UA, he thought normally. He's dressed in his Silver Age costume, someone exclaimed. I'll teach you basic hero training, so today there'll be, he took out a card that said battle, combat training, he exclaimed surprising everyone. Midoriya, training, he smiled nervously. Bakugo, combat, he grinned ominously completing the sentence. You'll head to the training ground, but first, he said before pressing a button opening the walls revealing cases with a number for each student, here are your hero costumes. They've been created according to your quirks abilities and the requests you made before entering UA, he mentioned exciting most of them, now go change, and I'll see you at Gamma Training Ground, he said before running off. Everyone was already gathered at the Gamma Training Ground where All Might was waiting, except Midoriya who hadn't arrived yet. Some were wearing very flashy costumes, while others were wearing simple ones. You all look great, he exclaimed, giving a thumbs up. By the way, where's young Midoriya? He asked. Sorry for being late, the green-haired guy responded as he arrived. When he arrived, everyone was surprised to see him. He was wearing the same outfit as Johnny Blaze, but since others didn't know who he was, they wondered why he dressed like that. A black leather suit without spikes, with gloves covering his hands and wrists, and what stood out the most? Chains around his torso. Immediately Uraka approached him. Uraka, wow DEKU, your outfit is cool. Very dark, she complimented him, very excited. Midoriya, oh Uraka, he spoke before realizing she was dressed up. He quickly covered his nose to avoid any nosebleeds. Uraka, I should have been specific about my outfit. It's too tight, she smiled a bit embarrassed with her hand behind her head. Hero course is cool, a short guy with balls on his head commented as he raised his thumb. Alright, now we'll have an indoor battle rehearsal, he spoke. As you know, villain attacks mostly happen in open spaces, but crime also occurs in enclosed places, like houses, bars, banks, etc. So, we'll do this test. You'll split into heroes and villains for a 2v2 battle, he explained loudly. Any questions? He asked, looking at his students. How do we determine who loses or wins? The girl with a ponytail hairstyle asked. Bakugo, can I kill someone? He asked threateningly. Uraka, will there be expulsion punishment? She asked worriedly. Ida, how will we divide? He asked formally. Doesn't this cape look cool on me? The egocentric French guy asked, whom Midoriya recognized instantly. All Might, overwhelmed with questions, took out a card and proceeded to explain, coughing a bit to get everyone's attention. I'll explain how it'll be conducted. He began to read. The villains were inside that building. He pointed to a specific building, guarding a nuclear bomb waiting to explode. The heroes will enter and prevent the explosion of that bomb. They win if they manage to defeat the villains or capture them with these capture tapes, or if they catch the bomb in time. If the villains stop the heroes until the time runs out, they win. That easy, he finished explaining, tossing the card. All Might, seeing his students, noticed they all had confused faces after the explanation. So, he decided to take out a small box labeled lottery box where he had balls written from A to H to pair them up. After pairing up their teammates, All Might called out the teams. All right. Team A will be the heroes, and Team D will be the villains, he exclaimed, grabbing the attention of the two teams. Heroes have 5 minutes of preparation before entering the building. Villains, wait inside, he indicated, taking his position. Team A consisted of Midoriya and his new friend Uraka. Luckily for him, they got along well, so there wouldn't be any problems. Unfortunately for him, Team D consisted of Ida and Bakugo. With Ida, there was no rivalry or hatred, but with Bakugo, it was the opposite. There they were, the hero team, looking at a white sheet which turned out to be the building map. Uraka, wow, I guess we should memorize it. Good thing I'm with you, DEKU? You're shaking and sweating like crazy, she exclaimed, alarmed, looking at her companion. Midoriya, sorry Uraka, but I'm about to face Kachan, and he wants to see me very, very hurt, he confessed, scared. Uraka, oh, well, I think you can handle him, she confessed, surprising the freckled boy. Besides, you know as much as I do that you can withstand his explosions, since you came out unharmed when you saved me from the 0-point robot, she said, trying to cheer him up. Midoriya, if I'm honest with you, I didn't know I was resistant to explosions, he said, surprising the brunette. Uraka, what? She exclaimed surprised, but if you didn't know, why did you risk your own life just to save me? She asked confusedly. Midoriya, well, that's what a hero does. Besides, I felt like I shouldn't leave you alone, a girl who couldn't defend herself while others fled, he confessed, embarrassed, not realizing what he said. The brunette suddenly felt a strong heartbeat, which she ignored and proceeded to speak. Uraka, that was very heroic, DEKU. Besides, I know we can do this if we work as a team. You can beat Bakugo, she said, giving him encouragement, which worked. Midoriya, you're right, I know we can do it together. Thanks, Uraka, he thanked her with a slight smile. Uraka, it was a pleasure, DEKU. At that moment, they heard All Might's voice through a speaker. All Might, the test begins. Heroes can enter the building, he announced, signaling them to move. Midoriya, let's go, Uraka, he said, more motivated as he adjusted his chain and headed towards the building. Uraka, yes, DEKU, she said, following him. Inside the building, the heroes were walking close to the wall for a possible villain attack, although the narrow space, with many corners and the heat, wasn't advantageous. Midoriya, all right, I'm sure Kachan is going to want to attack me, he commented while looking at his partner. I'll distract him, and you'll look for the bomb. Before he could finish explaining, he hugged Uraka and launched himself to the other side of the place, dodging an explosion from Bakugo. Bakugo, damn it, DEKU, don't dodge, he shouted angrily. Meanwhile, in the surveillance room. That Bakugo, attacking from behind isn't manly, a redhead guy with fang-like teeth commented. You're wrong, young Kirishima, that's also a strategy in combat. And we have to admit that Midoriya had good reflexes to dodge Bakugo and save Uraka, Ribbit, a girl with a frog-like appearance expressed. Back in the building. Midoriya, Kachan. Leave Uraka alone and fight me, he exclaimed, determined and a little serious. Bakugo, Then tell Roundface to let you go and face me, he exclaimed, creating small explosions. Midoriya, what do you mean? Then he noticed something hugging his torso. He looked down and saw Uraka hugging him tightly with her head on his chest. Immediately, Izuku blushed to the point where smoke came out of his ears. Midoriya, you Uraka, he finally spoke, very embarrassed. The brunette, realizing the situation she was in, separated herself, also blushing. Uraka, sorry, Deku, I didn't realize, she commented, very red. Midoriya, it's okay, he replied, trying to shake off the blush. Uraka, go for the bomb, and I'll take care of Kacchan, he said, getting into a fighting stance with one hand ready to pull out his chains. Uraka, but Deku, I can't leave you alone, she said, worried. Bakugo, enough of your damn love squabble, he exclaimed, getting the attention of both. Today, I'll end you, you useless Deku. Midoriya, Kacchan, you've always bothered me by calling me useless, but not anymore, he spoke, then getting more serious. I'm not the useless Deku anymore. I'm the Deku who can do it, he exclaimed, surprising Uraka and angering Bakugo. Uraka, go for the bomb, he spoke to his still surprised partner. Uraka, huh? Oh, right, be careful, Deku, she said as she left them alone. Bakugo, oh no, round face, you're not going anywhere, he said, lunging towards her with his right arm ready to attack. But just then, he was restrained by chains that tied around his arm and pulled him until he slammed against a wall, breaking it. Bakugo came out somewhat injured and saw that the culprit was Midoriya, who retracted his chain. Bakugo, spitting out a stone from his mouth, so, you want to be the first to die, huh, Deku? Well, I'll grant your wish. Die, he shouted, throwing himself at him. Midoriya, I know how you move, Kacchan, he thought, grabbing his opponent's right arm, surprising him. You always attack with your right arm, he thought, then directing it to his face, making Bakugo harm himself. Quickly, he used his left arm to explode Midoriya's chest, but without hurting him, causing him to let go. Bakugo, oh, you made me explode my own face. I'll give you a point for that, he said, getting back into position. Meanwhile, with Uraka, she climbed each floor of the building cautiously, looking for the bomb, which should be guarded by Ida. She finally reached the 5th floor and found them both in the middle of the place. Stealthily, she entered the room, hiding behind some crates as she watched Ida talking to himself. Ida, I can't believe I have to be the villain, I suppose I must act like one, he said as he paced back and forth, although Bakugo is a natural. Maybe they give extra points. Then I should start acting, he deduced to himself before starting to act. I'm the evilest villain of all. Muahahaha, he acted horribly. Uraka, haha, Ida acts so funny, she chuckled while covering her mouth. Ida, I've found you, hero, he said in a dramatically exaggerated voice. Uraka, darn, he heard me, she said, coming out of hiding. I guess there's no point in hiding, she said, getting into a fighting stance. Ida, surrender, hero, you can't, dash at that moment, the ground shook, and a loud explosion was heard from the 1st floor. Uraka, oh no, Deku, she exclaimed worriedly. A few seconds ago. 1st floor. Midoriya and Bakugo were both exhausted from the fight they had, and it was clear that neither was going to give up. Then Bakugo spoke. Bakugo, it's time to finish you off, Deku. As you know, I create explosions by secreting nitroglycerin from my body when I sweat and igniting it with sparks from my hands, he explained, showing his gloves, and if they've done this as I specified, you know what's coming, right? He said, extending his left arm and gripping the safety of his grenade. Stop, young Bakugo. You're going to kill him, he shouted worriedly. Bakugo, if I don't give it to him, he won't die, he yelled, removing the safety and creating a huge explosion. The ground shook so violently that it shook even the surveillance room, and everyone began to panic. Meanwhile, in the building, there was only smoke and a few pieces of debris in the place, but Midoriya wasn't visible. It was likely that he was unconscious in the dust. Bakugo, all right, I got rid of the useless one, he said to himself. Hey, Four Eyes. I got rid of Deku, I'm going to finish off Round Face now, he said angrily over the communicator. You're a useless nerd, now you'll see how I hurt that Round Face so badly she'll end up in the hospital, he said, about to go to where the bomb was. But before he could start walking, chains emerged from the smoke, binding Bakugo all over his body, with his hands pointing towards his face, unable to move or attack. Then Midoriya's voice was heard. Midoriya, Kacchan, he said seriously and almost exhausted, you can insult me. Hit me and hurt me. But no one hurts Uraka, he shouted with a chilling voice, sending shivers down Bakugo's spine and the others in the surveillance room. The power of the Avenger manifested in Izuku. In the smoke, the silhouette of Midoriya was seen, but with 2 fireballs in place of eyes for a brief moment. Immediately, the smoke cleared, showing the freckled boy looking tired and injured. Using all his strength, he slammed Bakugo against the walls, knocking him unconscious. He removed his chains and proceeded to use his communicator. Midoriya, Uraka, where are you? He asked, sounding more exhausted. Uraka, Deku. Are you okay? What was that explosion? She asked, concerned. Midoriya, I'm fine, he replied, reassuring her, where are you? I'll come right away. Uraka, I'm on the 5th floor, Ida found me, I don't think I can hold on much longer, she said hurriedly. Midoriya, I'm on my way, hang in there, he said, hanging up the communicator. He prepared to run to help her, but an explosion from behind made him fall to the ground. Bakugo, damn Deku, do you think slamming me against the walls would stop me? You're wrong, he said, throwing himself at him. Midoriya, already tired of his persistence, used his chains to bind Bakugo again and squeezed him tighter, leaving him breathless and unconscious again. So, to prevent another attack, he used the capture tape to prevent him from escaping. Now he set out to help Uraka, but not by the stairs. Meanwhile, with Uraka and Ida. They were a bit far apart from each other because if they got close, the other would attack or make them float. Uraka, time is running out, Deku, where are you? She asked through the communicator. Ida, are you asking for help from your partner? He won't help you, he won't be able to reach you. She was suddenly interrupted by the sound of the window breaking. They both watched in surprise as chains entered through the broken window and quickly tied up Ida. Ida, what th Midoriya? Let me go, he exclaimed, trying to struggle but was dragged out of the window, making him scream. Midoriya, Uraka, now, he exclaimed through the communicator. Uraka ran to the bomb and caught it with both her hands and legs. Uraka, caught it, she said relieved. The H heroes. The heroes win, he shouted, leaving everyone deafened. Midoriya, I'm sorry, Ida, for trapping you like that, he apologized as he untied him. Ida, don't worry, Midoriya, it was a good trick to defeat me, he replied. Midoriya, thanks, Ida. By the way, can you do me a favor? He asked. Ida, of course, Midoriya, what do you need? He asked. Midoriya, take me to the infirmary, please. I'm very exhausted, and I might faint soon, and he fell unconscious to the ground. Ida, Midoriya, he exclaimed. Uraka, Deku, she exclaimed worriedly as she arrived, what happened to him? She asked. Ida, he fainted from exhaustion, he replied, I'll take him to the infirmary. Uraka, I'll do it. With my quirk, it'll be easier, she said, touching the freckled boy, making him float. You take care of Bakugo, she commented. They both took Midoriya and Bakugo to the infirmary to be taken care of by Recovery Girl. Hours passed, and Midoriya was the last to wake up, as Bakugo had left hours ago. What he found was the small UA nurse, Recovery Girl. Recovery Girl, you finally woke up, young man, she said, looking at the freckled boy. Midoriya, where am I? He asked, disoriented. Recovery Girl, you're in the UA infirmary. Midoriya, oh, I remember now. Using my power completely exhausted me, he said, remembering what happened. By the way, where's Kachan? Recovery Girl, are you talking about young Bakugo? He already left, she replied, also, I think you should leave now, classes aren't over yet. Midoriya, you're right. Thank you for healing me, Recovery Girl, he left the room. Recovery Girl, I didn't heal you, young Midoriya. It was your body that healed itself. I thought you knew that, she said to herself, feeling confused. A few minutes later, he arrived at the classroom, and the only one who noticed his presence was Uraka, who quickly approached him. Uraka, Deku, you finally made it. Are you okay? She asked, concerned. Midoriya, why yeah, I'm fine, he said nervously, very close, he thought, blushing and looking away. Ida, Midoriya, I'm glad you're here. I thought you'd be in the infirmary the whole time, he said, waving his arm. Midoriya, it was nothing. Recovery Girl managed to heal me, he said, with one hand behind his back. Ida, as expected from the UA nurse, he commented. Then several kids approached him. Hey, Midoriya, great use of those chains. By the way, I'm Kirishima Eijiro, the redhead introduced himself. I'm Ashido Mina, said a pink-skinned girl with horns. I'm Asui Tsuyu, you can call me Tsuyu, said a girl with a frog-like appearance. I'm the great Mineta Minoru, said a short boy with purple balls on his head. I'm Aoyama Yuuga, said the French boy. Everyone was introducing themselves to the freckled boy except Bakugo, who was looking at Midoriya with anger, and a heterochromatic boy who was looking at him indifferently. After several introductions, classes ended, and everyone went home. Midoriya was about to leave on his motorcycle, but his friend stopped him. Uraka, hey DEKU, aren't you going to the station? She asked, confused. Midoriya, actually, I have a vehicle, he said somewhat nervously, showing his motorcycle. Uraka, wow. It looks amazing, she said, amazed. Ida, how do you have a motorcycle, Midoriya? Do you at least have a license to drive? He asked, moving his arm. Midoriya, yes, I do. Here it is, he said, showing his license. Ida, then I have no problem, he said, more calmly, we have to leave now, see you, Midoriya. Midoriya, don't you want me to give you a ride? He asked nervously. Ida, you can't take all three of us, there's not much space, and besides, I live on the other side of the city, he replied, but you can go with Uraka, he commented. Midoriya, do you want me to take you, Uraka? He asked, seeing his classmate still looking at the motorcycle. Uraka, sure, if it's not too much trouble, she said, a little embarrassed. Ida, it's settled then. By the way, do you have helmets? Because if you don't, I can't let you go without safety. Midoriya, yes, I have them, he said, showing a pair of black helmets. Midoriya, well, then I'll see both of you tomorrow, see you, he said, running towards the station. Midoriya, all right, Uraka, let's go, he said, handing her a helmet and putting on the other one, then he got on the motorcycle, waiting for Uraka to do the same. Once Uraka got on, she felt like she was being hugged from behind, and she also felt hands around her stomach. Midoriya, I didn't think this through, he thought, starting to blush, I'm sorry. Uraka, is everything okay, DEKU? She asked, unaware of the situation. Midoriya, it's nothing, he replied, then they started to ride off with Uraka beside him. Finally, he was able to use his power, but the downside is that it exhausts him completely. But he has all the time to manage it. Another day of school, everyone was in classroom 1A chatting in groups about hobbies or other things until Aizawa appeared, making everyone return to their seats. Aizawa, all right, today we'll do a very important activity that can't be overlooked, he said tiredly and seriously at the same time. Everyone, another test? They all wondered at once. Aizawa, today. You'll choose the class president and vice president, he finally said. Everyone, it's a normal school activity, they thought. Ashido, I want to be the president, she exclaimed, standing up from her seat. Kaminari, no. I'm the most suitable. The blonde with a black lightning bolt-shaped streak exclaimed. Bakugo, shut up extras. I'll be the president, he shouted. And so almost everyone wanted to be the class president until Ida raised his hand and shouted. Ida, hey. I know everyone wants to be the class president. But you must know it's a big responsibility and requires trust. That's why we'll have a vote, he exclaimed loudly. Asui, but we don't know each other very well. Who should we trust? She asked. Kirishima, besides, everyone will vote for themselves, the redhead commented. Ida, that's why we'll vote for the most trustworthy person, he exclaimed, then turned to their teacher, Aizawa-sensei, is that okay? Aizawa, do whatever you want as long as you choose the representatives, he said tiredly before going back to sleep. Ida, all right, let's vote. After the voting. Midoriya, 3 votes. Yaoyorozu, 2 votes. Ida, 1 vote. Midoriya, 3 votes? He wondered, surprised. Ida, only 1 vote? After giving a motivational speech? He wondered, depressed and surprised. Bakugo, who the hell voted for DEKU? He shouted at everyone, while Uraka started to whistle, avoiding eye contact along with those who voted for him. Aizawa, Waking up from his sleeping bag, well, Midoriya will be the class president and Yaoyorozu the vice president, he clarified, almost half asleep. After class, it was lunchtime and everyone headed to the cafeteria. As usual, the three friends went to a table to eat together. Uraka, congratulations on being elected class president, DEKU. She congratulated him with her cheerful attitude. Midoriya, I don't think I'm the right one for it, he said dejectedly and embarrassed. Ida, you're wrong, Midoriya. I think you're the right one. Everyone, including me, voted for you because of your incredible ability to defeat Bakugo, he said, moving his arm. Midoriya, I think you're the most suitable. That's why I voted for you, he said, surprising him. Ida, you voted for me? He asked, surprised. I don't think I'm the right one for the position since the others don't believe my peak as president is the most suitable, he explained, moving his arm like a robot. Midoriya and Uraka, peak? Matrix? They thought, confused by those words. Uraka, Ida, I've been ignoring your vocabulary a bit but it's very weird. Are you from a rich family? She asked, surprising Ida and Midoriya. Ida, I thought I had hidden my identity well, he said resignedly, I suppose I must tell you the truth. Do you know the hero Ingenium? Midoriya, he's a great hero with a motor from one of the best agencies in Hasu, he commented excitedly until he realized, don't tell me? Ida, that's right, Ingenium is my older brother, he confessed. Midoriya and Uraka, what? They exclaimed, surprised. Ida, I admire my brother a lot, I wish to be like him but apparently I'm not as suitable as you, Midoriya. You uncovered the secret of the entrance exam, he explained, moving his arm like a robot. Izuku was about to speak but the sound of an alarm alerted everyone. Level 3 breach, all students must evacuate in an orderly fashion. Ida, level 3 breach? What does that mean? He asked. It means someone infiltrated the academy, a boy replied as he exited with the others. Ida, as expected from UA, they know what to do in situations like this. Everyone quickly left the place, pushing everyone in their path, including the trio of friends. Midoriya, hey everyone, take it easy. Ouch, he exclaimed in pain as he was pushed and fell to the ground. Ida/Uraka, Midoriya !/Deku, they exclaimed, worried about their friend. Ida began to be pushed towards the window and saw a small group of journalists inside the facility. Ida, stay calm. They're just the press. Keep calm, he exclaimed, but he wasn't hurt over the commotion, so he came up with an idea, Uraka. Make me float. The brunette made Ida float and he used his quirk to propel himself upward to the entrance, grabbing everyone's attention. Ida, listen everyone. It's just the press. Stay calm, he shouted, making everyone look towards the window and confirm it. After all the commotion, everyone returned to their classrooms, revealing Midoriya lying on the ground with several shoe marks all over his body. His friends approached him, concerned. Uraka, Deku, are you okay? She asked worriedly. Midoriya, I think not, he replied in pain while still on the ground. After cleaning his uniform and heading to class, he made an announcement. Midoriya, Aizawa-sensei, I would like to resign as president and give the position to Ida, he announced, surprising everyone, especially the mentioned. Ida, are you sure, Midoriya? He asked, surprised. Midoriya, why yes, I saw how you handled the situation a few moments ago, you created a plan for everyone to listen to you, while I was trampled in the commotion without being heard, I trust you'll be able to do it. Ida, Midoriya, he said surprised, then smiled, I won't let you down. I'll prove I can be trustworthy. Aizawa, well, without further ado, Ida will be the new president, he announced before getting into his sleeping bag and sleeping. The next day. Aizawa, for today's class, we'll have All Might, another hero, and me teaching about rescue training, he announced, causing almost everyone to shout with excitement. Silence, he exclaimed, activating his quirk and quieting them. You can wear your suits if you want, the training will be off campus so we'll go by bus. You may leave. Everyone was outside with their suits ready, Ida was at the front giving orders. Ida, all right, everyone line up and sit in your corresponding seats. He commented, moving his arms like a robot. Everyone got on the bus but they were seated randomly. Ida, I didn't think it would be like this, he said depressed, looking at the ground. The bus started moving and everyone began to talk among themselves, while others were just quiet and calm. Until Asui started talking. Asui, Midoriya, she said, catching the attention of the freckled boy. Midoriya, why yes Asui? He asked. Asui, you can call me Tsuyu, I always speak my mind so I'll ask you. Specifically, what is your quirk? She asked, tensing the green-haired boy a bit but then composing herself. Midoriya, well, it's fire-based, I can create fire from my hands and with the chains I have, I can extend it to use as long-range weapons, he replied, scratching the back of his head. Kirishima, you have an incredible quirk, while mine is just hardening my body, which is good for fights but not very cool, the redhead commented. Midoriya, I think it's cool, if you can harden your whole body, you'd be a professional hero, he said. Kirishima, harden my whole body, he said thoughtfully, that's a great idea, Midoribro. Midoriya, Midoribro? He asked confused. Ashido, that's what he calls his friends, Midori, the pink-haired girl said. Just then the bus stopped. Aizawa, alright, we've arrived, everyone get off, he ordered, getting off first. Everyone got off at the large facility that was the USJ, then they were greeted by a hero with an astronaut-like appearance. Welcome everyone to the USJ. Midoriya, incredible. It's the professional hero 13, expert in rescue and salvage, he commented very excitedly upon seeing him. Uraka, awesome. 13 is my favorite hero, he's my inspiration to be a heroine, she also commented very excitedly. 13, I like these kids, he said, pointing to the two and feeling flattered. Anyway, in this place, you'll learn everything about rescue. Aizawa, 13, where's All Might? He whispered near him. 13, apparently he reached his maximum capacity and is resting, he replied in a whisper, then went on to speak, this place is designed for all environments related to rescues, so you'll also learn to use your quirks correctly. Yaoyorozu, what do you mean by that, 13-sensei? She asked, confused like the rest. 13, well, as you all know, my quirk is called Black Hole. It's very useful for disintegrating debris, perfect for saving lives trapped in collapses, but you can also disintegrate lives, he explained, surprising everyone with that interesting piece of information. That's why you'll do simulations and exercises to use your abilities correctly. Aizawa, as you can see, this facility is equipped with the highest technology to create simulations of all kinds of disasters. With that explained, he suddenly stopped walking, and they saw a purple portal appear in the center of the field. 13. Protect the students, he ordered, stepping forward in a battle stance. At that moment, Izuku started to have a strong headache, causing him to grip his skull, but no one noticed as they were all focused on the portal. Midoriya, Ugh. There are too many innocent souls seeking revenge. Stay in control, he told himself, preventing Zarathos from taking over. Kirishima, awesome. There are even simulation villains, he exclaimed excitedly as he watched bad guys coming out of the portal, especially a muscular villain with exposed brain and a pick with teeth instead of a mouth. 13, they're not simulation villains. They're real villains, he exclaimed, scaring everyone. So, this is where All Might should be, said a pale man with several hands on his body and face, scratching his neck. Aizawa, are they looking for All Might? He asked in his mind. Calm down, Shigaraki. See those kids? If we use them, we could get his attention, said a man enveloped in purple mist, pointing at the students. Shigaraki, true, if we kill a few brats, All Might will come, he commented, seeing how scared the kids were. All right, everyone, attack, he ordered, making all the villains follow his orders. Immediately, Eraser put on his goggles. Aizawa, stay back, I'll handle this, he said, ready to attack. Yaoyorozu, are you sure, sensei? We can wait for other professional heroes to come. Don't we have security alarms? She asked worriedly, looking at her teacher. 13, we have alarms that automatically activate upon detecting an intruder, but if they got in here, it's because one of them has a quirk that nullifies them, he replied, shocked by the large number of villains. Aizawa, they may be villains, but they're not stupid. Now just stay back, he ordered as a villain approached, about to attack him. Midoriya, but sensei, your capture technique won't be very useful against them, he said, enduring the headache. Aizawa, kid, sometimes you need more than one trick, he said as he jumped over a villain who tried to activate his quirk but couldn't, so he kicked the villain and threw him away. He began to fight against several villains who were surprised by his abilities and couldn't use their quirks. Villain, what the hell? Why can't we activate our quirks? He asked, looking at the eraser hero. Tomura, these idiots, he said to himself, it's obviously Eraserhead, idiots. He can erase everyone's quirks. He responded, surprising the villains. The students watched as their teacher defeated most of the villains with just his abilities. Midoriya, breathing heavily, the teacher is amazing, he commented, still with his headache. Uraka, DEKU, are you okay? She asked, seeing her friend in pain. Midoriya, it's nothing, just a headache, he replied, holding his temple. Mineta, then there's nothing to worry about, he said, relaxing. I wouldn't be so sure, said the mist, appearing behind them and taking them by surprise. Aizawa, damn, I got distracted for a few seconds when I should have focused on the most troublesome ones, he thought, seeing the villain close to his students. He was about to help them, but the other villains prevented him from reaching them. Nice to meet you, I'm Kurogiri, and we are the League of Villains. We've come to put an end to All Might and everything he represents, he spoke formally but with the same evil intent. 13. Everyone, get back. He ordered, about to use his quirk, but Bakugo and Kirishima rushed to attack him using their quirks, leaving a lot of dust from the explosion caused by the blonde's explosion. Kirishima, it seems he wasn't very strong. Bakugo, if you're going to do something, just do it uselessly, he said arrogantly, showing his fist and scanning where the villain would be. Suddenly, the smoke from the explosion dispersed, revealing the villain unharmed. Kurogiri, thank you for the advice, he said, beginning to activate his quirk, but my job is to torture you until All Might arrives. Midoriya, they want All Might, he thought as he looked at the villain. Instantly, he began to activate his quirk, sucking everything except for Ashido, Ida, Sato, Shoji, Sero, and Uraka. Ida, guys, he shouted worriedly. Elsewhere. Midoriya, ah! He screamed as he fell into some sort of lake. It was the shipwreck zone, a perfect place for students with aquatic quirks and for rescue. It was where Izuku ended up. Midoriya, the headache stopped a bit, but I still sense the villains, he thought while still submerged in the water, that means it's a large-scale attack. Suddenly, a villain appeared in front of him, shaped like a hammerhead shark and with a menacing look. Villain, I have an excellent snack in front of me, he said menacingly as he rapidly swam towards him. Midoriya, what do I do? I don't think I can escape or use my power underwater. He thought, panicking as he swam desperately. Villain, itadakimasu, he swam at full speed, opening his mouth with the intention of eating him. But suddenly, he was kicked to the side of his head, showing that it was Tsuyu who was responsible, incapacitating the enemy. Asui, Midoriya, Karo, she used her tongue to grab Midoriya and pull him out of the water. She swam to the surface and carefully left Midoriya in the boat, also pulling out Mineta but tossing him, apparently taking advantage of the situation to touch her chest. Midoriya, thank you, Asui, he thanked as he got up. Asui, you can call me Tsuyu, she said entering the boat, and now we're in big trouble, Karo. The place where they were transported was in the middle of a lake, surrounded by many villains close to them. A big mess to escape from. Midoriya, we're surrounded by 7 villains, he informed, looking around. Mineta, it can't be. We're doomed, he cried while tears flowed. Asui, calm down, Mineta, panicking at times like this won't help us at all. Mineta, then what should we do? He asked desperately. Asui, do you have any plan, Midoriya? Karo, she asked, seeing the freckled boy deep in thought and serious as he looked at the villains. But Midoriya only saw the interior of those villains, more specifically, their souls. Those souls stained by the atrocities they had committed, each one with more crimes than the other, and their victims seeking revenge. Asui, Midoriya? She called his attention upon noticing his distraction. Midoriya, eh? Sorry, Asui, I was just planning how to get out of here, he informed, startling Mineta. Mineta, are you crazy? He shouted in fear, don't you see that if we try to escape, they'll kill us? Midoriya, but if we stay here, sooner or later they will, he said, beginning to lose patience due to the headache. Besides, they don't know our quirks, he informed the two. Asui, how are you so sure of that, Midoriya? Karo, she asked confused. Midoriya, it's easy, because of you, he responded, pointing at her. Asui, Karo? She asked, pointing at herself. Midoriya, as far as I know, your quirk is like that of a frog, right? She nodded, it wouldn't have been very wise to send you to a place covered in water, which is practically your territory, he informed, surprising the two with that information. Asui, you're right, if they had known my quirk, the villain would have sent me to the fire zone, Karo, she commented, looking at the mentioned area. Midoriya, I have an idea, he said, getting the attention of the two, but I need to know exactly what your quirks are. Asui, mine, as you mentioned, is basically what a frog does, she responded instantly. I can jump over 20 meters and I can stretch my tongue very far. I can also store things in my stomach and then secrete them, although the latter doesn't help in this situation, Karo, she informed, feeling a bit uncomfortable about the last thing she said. Mineta, secrete, he thought. Midoriya, I have something, he whispered. What can you do, Mineta? Mineta, I can produce balls from my head, he replied, doing as he said and then sticking it to the wall. These can stick to any surface and depending on my mood, they can last all day. Midoriya, I have an idea. Mineta, so fast? He exclaimed, surprised. Midoriya, listen, this is the plan. The two approached him to hear the plan. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the USJ, Kota and Tokoyami were in the storm zone, surrounded by villains ready to attack. Tokoyami, this doesn't seem favorable at all, does it, Kota? He asked his friend, who timidly nodded. Ojiro, who was in the fire zone, using his martial arts moves and his tail, fought off some villains and then escaped. Todoroki had frozen many villains around him in the Earth Zone. Todoroki, you're pathetic to be defeated so easily. Villain, why you bastard, he said, trying to break free from the ice but without success. Todoroki, you don't have the ability to defeat All Might, your teamwork is terrible, he commented menacingly as he approached the villain slowly, and at this rate, your cells will slowly die from the cold. Villain, what? He said, scared and on the verge of wetting himself. Todoroki, I don't want to kill you because I want to be a hero so. He placed his hand near the villain's face, tell me how you plan to kill All Might. In the mountain zone, Jiro, Kaminari, and Yaoyorozu were in a defensive formation around several villains. In the rubble zone, Bakugo and Kirishima defeated several villains using their quirks and strength. Midoriya, ready? He asked both of them, getting into position. Asui, I'm not sure about this, Midoriya, Karo, she said uncertainly. Mineta, how sure are you that this plan will work? He asked, scared. Midoriya, 50% about 60 or so, he said at the edge of the boat, if I want to be a hero, I need to be a bit aggressive, he thought before starting to shout, hey villains. Villain, who do you think you are, kid? Shouted the guy with a trident, angry. Midoriya, follow me, he shouted before jumping into the water and sinking to the bottom of the lake. Villain, chase that idiot. He ordered the other villains, who began to follow Midoriya, ignoring Mineta and Tsuyu. Asui, be ready for the signal, Mineta. Mineta, why yes, he said, getting into position. While they were prepared for the signal, Midoriya reached the bottom of the lake and with one end of the chain in his hand, ready to execute the plan. Villain, those chains won't work underwater, he said confidently. Midoriya, I think they will. In a quick movement, he spun around on his own axis while the other end of his chains wrapped around each villain who was nearby. Villain, what the hell? He shouted, surprised. Villain 2, did it really work? In less than 5 seconds, he trapped all the villains who tried to attack him, incapacitating them from attacking or moving. The first step of the plan worked perfectly. With the villains unable to attack, Midoriya began to swim rapidly as he was about to run out of air in his lungs, taking the criminals with him. Midoriya, Mineta, Asui, you know what to do. He signaled them. Asui, yes. She immediately grabbed Mineta and leapt out of the boat. Mineta, damn it, Midoriya, always trying to show off, he muttered under his breath, I can do it too, he exclaimed, starting to throw the balls from his head at the villains. Villain 3, what are these things? He asked, trying to remove them but in vain. Villain 4, they won't come off. Midoriya, Asui. He called out, retracting his chains from the villains and wrapping them around her torso, slowly sinking the villains. Asui, Karo, she exclaimed before using her tongue to grab Midoriya and pull him in. Midoriya, Mineta. You guys are amazing. After a few minutes, they were reaching the shore of the lake near the gate, hiding in case other criminals found them, but when they arrived, they saw something heartbreaking. Eraserhead had been defeated, lying on the ground while a muscular creature with a bird-like head and exposed brain held his head, his arm almost disintegrated.